But the problem was that there was so much chaos created by the Weimar Republic. I mean, at any given point, there were 20 plus political parties all vying for power in the Reichstag. Nobody had any real idea or plan. So, it's kind of the socialists were left to rule over this thing under the thumb of the American or the German army, right? Well, Hitler saw that and took advantage of it. And that's how he came to power, because what the German people really wanted was a return to authoritarianism, the monarchy, because they didn't have to take part in their system anymore. Remember, these are people who had never voted, understood what it meant to vote. I'm seeing a similar situation unfold here in the West, both in Canada and the United States. We have a tremendous amount of political upheaval right now. And I'm watching the pendulum swing back toward the right. But my concern is that pendulum is swinging too far to the right.
Mm.
And people are digging in their heels and looking for conservatives or right-wing candidates who will say the most outlandish things that kind of parallel or align with their own beliefs in response to this neo-Marxist, cultural revolution that we've experienced. Along with that, we've seen a resurgence in anti-Semitism, surprisingly enough, coming from the left, which myself personally, it doesn't surprise me, but I see am I correct there? Do you think I'm maybe overstating?
No, I just think in your last statement, I don't know where you were headed, so it's possible you were headed here, but it's not coming from the left. It's
Okay.
coming from multiple directions. One of them is the left. There's
Okay.
a very different anti-Semitism that has been on the rise on the right. And now the interesting thing is the folks on the right detest the neo-Marxists who are anti-Semitic on the left. They detest them. They do not respect them, and for good reason. But the fact that it's effectively the other shoe that has yet to drop. And, increasingly we are seeing it play out in social media where these multiple anti-Semitisms are visible. And if you're aware, I mean, there's really three, actually, I would say. The three biggies are the one on the right. You've got some kind of white nationalist impulse that is anti-Semitic. On the left, you've got the neo-Marxist version of anti-Semitism, which is housed most prominently in the universities. And then you have the Islamofascist version, which is yet a third, right? The
Mm.
white nationalists are not Islamofascists and they're not neo-Marxists. The neo-Marxists would be detested by both of the others. It's three different factions. And the point is anti-Semitism is the kind of phenomenon that finds itself a focus in many different broken communities
Mm.
for evolutionary reasons.
Can you explain the evolutionary reasons? Because this is something I've always wondered.
I think so. If you think about what Jews are a diaspora. And that means they live as a tiny minority in other places, in other people's countries. And the problem is that you have a boom and bust cycle economically. When times are good, then people collaborate with Jews because Jews, for whatever reason, and I think it's primarily cultural, have some pieces of toolkit that are very useful for innovating, getting stuff done. And then when times are bad, when economic contraction hits, Jews are a natural target because they do accumulate wealth by virtue of being good at stuff, and they can't defend themselves by virtue of being a tiny minority. And so that means that if you're in a growth period, you may think, oh, we've gotten past our anti-Semitism. It's done. It's not a thing anymore. It's a minor phenomenon. And then the growth runs out, and suddenly people are looking for who they can target, and Jews are a natural. And, I think that's a pattern of history that people have failed to understand. And it is now, let's put it this way, that was a hypothesis of mine in college. I think it is now more than a hypothesis,
Mhm.
because we are watching this unfold, and it matches so well the predictions of that hypothesis that I struggle to find a competing explanation that's worth the paper it's printed on.